All right, so yeah, sorry about that. It looks like I had a bit of a glitch in terms of my recording stuff. So we'll go in and do the game analysis here on this Trompowsky attack. So first thing, if we look at the report, just sort of looking at the headline stuff, I'm gonna go ahead and bring my camera out of the way just a second. If we look at the report, my opponent played decently well. They had 4 inaccuracies, z- 0 mistakes, 0 blunders. I had 0 inaccuracies, 1 mistake, and 0 blunders. And I took a peek really quick uh, at the game itself to sort of see where this mistake was at. And yeah, it looks like it was in a situation where I was already massively winning. So yeah, I would have to say in that case, I'm pretty happy with how I played. Basically, no real mistakes where it counted, and when I got the advantage, as we can see here, by the game chart itself, I kept it. Exactly the kind of game that I want to shoot for. No massive mistakes. When I get an advantage, I hold on to the advantage. I know in a lot of our games, we see seesawing. When you look at the game report like this, you'll see that you'll have the advantage for a while and then you give it up and all this kind of thing. This is sort of what I shoot for. So, in terms of the gameplay itself, again, it says I had 98.7% accuracy. So, yeah, I'm really happy with the game here and the fact that my one mistake really didn't matter. The one thing I would caution against these kind of accuracy numbers is when you have long end games, I don't exactly understand what it is about sort of how the computer calculates accuracy, but as I understand it, when you have longer end games where there's not as much kind of tactical interplay and where a majority of the moves are more obvious and there's not as much tactical nuance, you're more likely to get a higher accuracy number. Kind of, there's like a bias towards that. So even though I got a 98.7% accuracy, it was probably because this game was primarily a long end game, as opposed to me playing awesomely or something. If this was like a super crazy tactical game and I still got 98.7%, I would be much more impressed with that number. But again, what I do like is the idea of having the advantage and keeping the advantage. That's really something I'm trying to do. I get so irritated when I get an advantage and then I blow it up. And again, for me, it has often been because I get into time trouble, which is why in my videos, especially with these rapid games, I've been talking about how I'm really just focusing on time management. Because even though 30 minutes sounds like it's a lot, if you're thinking about your moves and you're trying to refute your potential candidate moves, I find that 30 minutes goes really fast. And yeah, so in any case, let's jump into this. Like I said at the beginning, I was really interested in the opening play, this Trompowsky attack and sort of how to best go at it. So against d4, I just generally like to play knight f6. So they went in for bishop g4. Knight e4 is by far the best move. I mean, not by far the best move, but, well, it's the most common. But it looks like black also has here, they can play e6. They can play d5. They can play c5, and they can play g6. Like, these have all been played. So there's no particular concern about, black taking on f6 and giving up their bishop for your knight. Shouldn't be terribly concerned about that, but that's what the move knight e4 seeks to get around. So again, e6, d5, c5, g6 are commonly played moves here too. But I went with the most common move, knight e4. And I wonder, yeah, so I played in this line, I played the third most common move, but people also play c5 and d5. d5 was probably the move that I was thinking about as well, because I had remembered just like some random games that I had played that I had come across the idea that d5 was a good follow-up here. But yeah, c5 is the most common, which is interesting. c5, just trying to undermine black's d-pawn, or sorry, white's d-pawn. But yeah, I like this move g5 because it puts the onus on white to do something. So they play bishop g3. And there's not a lot of games from this position, so yeah. So knight takes g3 is the most common, bishop g7 as well. h5, which was the move I played, there's only one game of that. But yeah, it seemed like, well, h5 was not the move I played. I played d5, that's right. So let's jump into the analysis a little bit then, since there's not a lot of moves here, or not a lot of games here. Let's actually jump forward and see if some more pop up. So e3, okay. Yeah, I'm not sure that this is terribly helpful at this point. So let's jump back into the computer analysis then. h3, jump back here. So they played e3 after I played d5. So they played bishop g3. I played d5, supporting my knight. I knew that was a decent idea. They played e3, and then I just go after their bishop, which I know from different lines in the London can be, you know, something beneficial to do. Okay, so they play h3, and yeah, they say this is an inaccuracy, and I suspect it's just because, yeah, it says knight takes g3 is best. I can damage their structure, present this weakness. Yeah, queen d6 is the best move. Yeah, so developing and gaining time, or sort of developing with tempo, I should say, and putting this threat on white, giving white something to respond to. Yeah, so normally we don't develop our queen. Those are general principles, but sometimes those general principles are broken if we have a good reason to do that. And here is definitely a good reason. Just develop with a threat. And it says here the best move was queen f3, which makes sense. I'm defending against the threat. So g4, g4 makes sense. g4, queen f2. They don't want to take, I suspect. If they do this, this is probably pretty bad. Yeah, this is pretty bad. h takes g4, so hitting their queen, whoops, and their rook. Yeah, that's not good. Okay. So queen f3 was maybe white's best try there. And here they're just losing a pawn, and their king is in a bad situation. So yeah, about here in the game, you know, I think I might have mentioned that, hey, this is good for black. And yeah, I mean, when you can win a pawn and you can get them to lose castling rights, that's got to be good. So they say c6 here, which is interesting. c6. So I liked e6 because it sort of opens up my dark square bishop. I want to play bishop b4 and get rid of this annoying c3 knight, which always threatens to come into b5. Yeah, here, okay, here the computer says c6 is best. But again, bishop d7, you know, intuitively makes sense. I'm okay with that. Queen f3. Okay, so it said to take here instead of developing. I'm not really sure I understand why. So queen takes, knight takes, it wants to play c5. I mean, I was always sort of annoyed by like knight d5 as a possible move. So probably in this position, knight b5 is just not something to worry about. Oh, king e7 just getting out of the way of the potential. Yeah, that makes sense. King e7. There's no particular urge to castle at this point. Yeah, what do the computers recommend lines here? Rook af1, king e2, rook af1, rook ag1. Probably rook af1 kind of makes sense to me. We'll go with that. Rook to g8, and yeah, we just have a game here. Black is up a pawn. Yeah, black is doing well. Okay. So let's see if there's anything else of interest here. So yeah, when I did take the queen, it was best. I mean, white was threatening f2. I didn't want to do anything awkward. I mean, this rook h7 maybe. Rook h7 just looks really awkward. Rook h7 probably. Rook h7 is okay. Rook h7 is okay. It's not best. But yeah, we can't play rook f8 because h5 hangs. But yeah, okay. Computer says go ahead and take. And then here there was a lot of sort of maneuvering. Yeah, from this position, I don't know that a whole lot extra can be gotten out of going over this game, because I think I explained a lot of my analysis in the game itself. I mean, the only other move, we can look at this place where I supposedly made a mistake. Let's see what the best was here. So they say rook h4. Rook h4. Rook h4, a4. So just getting active along the fourth rank. Rook e4. Rook f1. a5. This kind of move makes sense to me. Yeah, these rook pawn pushes, if you haven't heard this idea, just sort of the value of pushing rook pawns to kind of solidify your position and maybe make threats. It's a good idea to keep in the back of your head. King e2, rook e to h4, coming back over here and threatening, rook 1 to f3, defending. And can we never take on h3 because of this threat? Rook takes. Yeah, looks like in a lot of these lines it's going to be hard, so black's best plan is just to sort of go for counterattacking over on the queen side. King d2, king d3, a4, b takes, and now we got this outside pass pawn over here, so we got counter threats. Rook f1 trying to come back, a3, rook 5 to f3. Yeah, I was going to say at some point I've got to just be taking this pawn. Yeah, so maybe the idea is rook 3 to f2. Okay. Yeah, so there's not a lot of difference. Rook 3 to f2, rook takes h3. Let's just say they take here. So I guess the idea is black's got two threatening pawns, right? So the g and the h pawn. It's going to really keep white on their heels. White has, I mean, in this position, black's just up 2 pawns. White's pawns are disconnected and raggedy. Yeah, this is totally winning. How bad was rook takes h3? So the computer says just minimally so. It doesn't feel like... Yeah, I mean, this is kind of a situation where... Yeah, I mean, I'm still totally winning in this position. So I guess from the perspective of what is objectively best, I didn't play the best move, but yeah, this was still totally winning. Okay, cool. I think that's about all that I want to say about this game. I think it was a good example of just trying to hold on when you have an advantage, and maybe hopefully thought processes to be kind of going through in that kind of situation where you know you're in a winning position, but it's on you to actually convert it. You got to show good technique, as they say. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, comments, let me know. Again, hope you guys got something out of the game, and I'll probably be looking forward to making some new content either later today or tomorrow. We'll sort of see. Anyway, we'll see you guys next time. Thanks a lot.